Hey folks, welcome to another turbo round for WPT Magazine. I'm Matt Waldron, and here we have a man who needs no introduction at home, but we'll try it here. James Dempsy, and we've got a little bit of our turbo round questions to go. We're just going to jump right into it here, ask a few fun and silly ones. Start off with an easy one, kind of a deep thinker. What is your earliest memory?
Wow, I can actually, it's funny, my earliest memory was being at like primary school, whatever, like, you know, how young I was, like kindergarten or whatever it would be, and baking like cookies and putting like we call them hundreds and thousands at home. I don't know what they're called here. They're like little sprinkles.
Sprinkles, yeah.
That's like my earliest memory. I don't know how old I was at the time. It might not be my earliest memory, but it feels like it's my earliest memory.
It's the best one, at least on that side.
Cookies. So what do you want?
Cookies and sprinkles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's on your iPod?
I have no music on my iPod.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a Spotify guy. I guess, again, I don't know what, I think there's an equivalent over here. But you just,
we actually have Spotify now.
You have Spotify
so
now,
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah,
So
you have to set up a separate account, but it's
Yeah, I use Spotify, so not really downloading music. I'm really lazy, so the actual thought of having to like download music, put it on, plug it into my computer, do all that, I just get, at some point I'm going to make a mistake, so
it's easiness. What's your favorite app then on your iPhone?
Favorite app? It's probably, I'm going to go with Words with Friends. I'm a bit of Words with Friends degenerate.
Very nice.
I haven't played a lot the last month or so, but before that I was playing.
Do you ever gamble on Words with Friends?
I have done, but I get too tilted. I get tilted as it is when I lose at Words with Friends, so when I'm gambling on it, it gets out of control.
Don't play Dan Kelly. DJK is some kind of miracle ninja at Words with Friends. If you play him from...
Annette's the one who always bashes me up. Like, even when I get all the best led, if I still lose to Annette, I can't beat her. She stopped paying me, and then yesterday she sent me a message saying, or started giving me a message like, "Are you ready for more?" I'm just can't decline the game, but
I give.
Yeah, I know I'm going to lose it, but we'll
give it a run anyway. All right, I'm going to ask this one, and it might figure in with Annette being a Words with Friends genius. But who is your personal hero?
Oh, my personal hero. There's a few. John Duffy. John Duffy. He's. I want to be John Duffy. There we go.
At the end of the day.
The guy's kind of got life just about right. You know, he swans around, plays a bit of poker, sets up massive companies that take off. You know, that's how it should be.
Make a few movies, do some TV.
Yeah. He does it all whilst like looking effortlessly, and just being cool. So John Duffy's the man for me.
There you go. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Because I got asked this recently. I said, I think I said invisibility, and I'm gonna stick to that.
Fair enough.
Invisible,
That's
you get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of a UK TV question. What would you put into Room 101?
What would I put into Room 101? Mushrooms, probably.
Fair enough.
I really like mushrooms.
I'm in that boat with you. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
A pilot.
Pilot?
I was set on being a pilot from quite an early age, and started on that career. And then, in fact, I did my flight training like an hour from here. I used to fly in and out of all the airports up and down the southeast coast of Florida.
Nice.
So it was quite fun coming back because I spent a lot of time down here. Has brought it back a lot. I went up today and visited West Palm Beach. I used to live in Park West Palm Beach, and I was checking all the places I used to go and stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, I noticed you hanging around here after the tournament didn't work out quite as planned, I'm sure. And then I was like, wow, he seems to be enjoying Florida. So
yeah, it's been a while. It's like 8 years since I was, at West Palm Beach, whatever. Like, I've visited Miami since, but not really left, the city. So it's kind of fun to revisit some of these places.
What would you be doing if you weren't a poker player?
Well, I would if it ended tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got asked this again recently as well. Like, would I go back to flying? I don't think I would as a job. I think I could see myself moving into kind of. I love the idea of setting up businesses and building them, and like not necessarily like take over the world kind of thing, but just like a diverse group of small little things going off. So I have a couple of things going on now. I've got Blonde Poker, which is like a poker site in Europe. And just started a currency business with a friend of mine. So we do currency exchange that we're trying to tap into the poker market. All these guys, I mean, in the States it's easy, everyone uses dollars, right? But in Europe people are flying around from, playing in sterling to euros to coming over to the States. Everyone's so disorganized. They just turn up in torments. They're like, oh, we've got.
So you're playing on poker players' natural tendencies to be very disorganized.
I want to try and set up. It's also, when people win, they've got money, they've got to bring it back. How do they change it? They don't want to get stuff by the bank. So we're trying to set up
Sounds
develop
like a
the
good
market
idea.
anyway. And then who knows what's next, but some other business adventure, I'm sure.
It works. It works. All right. What's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to you?
The nicest thing anyone's ever said to me? Probably I know what this is. It's when Dave Shallow, who won WPT Dublin, he's a good friend of mine.
Right.
He once said to me, he gave me like the highest praise I've ever received when he said, "I'm okay at poker." Like this guy, he's like notoriously thinks everybody's terrible, and he once said I was okay at poker, and that's the highest praise I've ever received.
Biggest compliment ever.
Yeah,
That works.
that was amazing. Just the thought of it now just makes me happy.
It's grinning. Well, I'll bring you back down. What's the worst thing anybody's ever said to you?
Wow, the worst thing. There's a much bigger list. There's only like one comment I can think of. List. I don't know. There's too many horrible things.
Nah, fair enough. Better not to dwell on them.
Yeah,
Right?
don't want to put myself in a negative mood.
All right. Well, tell us a joke then.
Tell you a joke. A really simple one.
Okay.
It's so not funny. I don't want to say it. A man walked into a bar.
Right.
Ouch. Like,
Ding. Yeah.
It's just too easy.
You get your own rim shot for that. Your dream poker table, you and 5 players, alive or dead.
Ooh. Dream poker table. I'd have Dave Shallow there just to rile everybody up. Tell everyone they're terrible.
Could be a table of talkers.
Yeah, I'd have. Oh, why have you done this to me? I've got to choose 5 people. It's too difficult.
You can have some honorable mentions after if it helps you, but I want the front 5 there, and then seat fillers if they break.
When the game breaks, yeah. I mean, I guess in honesty, I want like 5 fish, right? But obviously, that's no fun. So I'd go for. And I Phil Helm would be pretty funny to have on the table. He's always up for a laugh. I have to have little Dave Nicholson, like player from the UK. He's like absolutely hilarious to share a table with. So I have him on there. You really put me on the spot.
I did. It's my deep
We need some
journalistic
women in
integrity.
here. I'd have Liv. Liv needs to be on there. We need some eye
Good
candy
enough.
for the table.
And someone to recognize the Swedish death metal. If
This
it's
is
in-
exactly
yeah,
like
yeah.
you know. How could I possibly forget Thomas Middleton? Thomas Middleton, he's got to be on the table. I guess who am I up to now? I ran out with Chris Moorman, I think, because someone
Chris
has to
Moorman.
win. And like
There you go.
Someone has to just bash the table up, but we could all rip it out of him whilst he's doing it. So.
This works. It comes out all right.
There'd be a lot of drinking on that table. I feel like that'd be a good
This
drinking
is a
table.
good point. No one would back down. What's your favorite drinking game?
I've just discovered this new game,
All right.
and it's going to be all the craze at the World Series. I think I'm going to set this board up for our
All right.
house for the World Series for the guys. But it's called Battle Shots. It's just battleships, but they're shots. Like it's just going to be a recipe for absolute mayhem.
So there's no actual. There's
You're just
ships
you're
of
battleships,
shots.
yeah, but when you land, you know, a bomb on their a hit on their boat, they've got to do a shot for each thing you hit.
that you hit.
So you think it's like I think it's works out as 17 shots.
Now, how would you spend your last 24 hours on Earth?
Sleeping? No, wouldn't be sleeping. My last 24 hours on Earth would involve no poker, some golf. If it's like anything is possible, then there'd be some golf in there, there'd be some skiing in there, there'd be a really good meal, a bit of drinking, and I think that would sum it up. If I can manage to get all them in the same day,
This would work out.
that would be it.
That's worse. What's the worst job you've ever had?
I've never had a job.
Fair enough. Win. What's the most expensive thing you've ever spent your winnings on?
A car. I bought a car. That'd be there.
Can drop a name. What kind? What did we get?
Aston Martin. So.
Very nice. Did you get the? What'd you get?
The DB9.
Oh, beautiful. Gotta love it.
Yeah, that was a good time. So that's actually after I was going to buy the car, and then I lost a boatload of money in the PCA, and I was like, right, that's it. I'm not buying the car. I'm not going to punish myself. I'm going to grind this money back, and then I can buy the car. And then 2 weeks later, James Keyes chopped the Aussie Millions, where I had 25%. So I was like, got all the money back. I was like,
I'm back.
I'm buying the car.
Not too bad. Did you feel like James Bond the first month or so you were driving it?
I'm not going to lie. I can't believe I'm going to admit this when people will know about this. But I can't see how I have to admit it now. One of the CD trays in the car is James Bond soundtracks. And it had the James Bond theme tune there. So when you're feeling a bit James Bond-esque, you can just flick straight into the theme tune of James Bond if you're doing something like conniving in your car. Yeah. I can't believe I just admitted that. But.
Well, hey, new things that we get. What is your greatest fear that someone would find about the James Bond thing in your car? Other than that,
it's not mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms. They're not my greatest fear. Probably again, like wrongful imprisonment for like a really long time. Like not so much
prison or something.
Not so much like imprisonment. Like if I did something wrong and went to prison, I think. But say it was like a really bad crime and you got like wrongfully convicted and you went to prison and just know you're innocent, and then like kind of like your whole world would turn against you, as in the people like your friends and stuff would be like, well, he did that, whatever, and then you would spend like 30 years in jail or something like that. That's my worst fear. That
would definitely do it. If someone had to play you in a Hollywood film about your life, who do you think would do it the best?
I got asked this recently and I said Patrick Antonius. I'm going to stick with Patrick Antonius.
Why not?
Or John Duthie. John Duthie can play me. But John Duthie can play, like, when I get a bit older, he can take over the role. Somehow.
He could like produce or direct it or something.
Yeah, there we go. John can produce the film and I'll have Patrick Antonius play me.
There you go. There you go.
Perfect.
Does Patrick Antonius, do you need to coach him on the poker, or do you think he's doing okay on his own?
I think he'll be okay.
He'll be all right?
I think I played with him once and made a horrendous bluff, and he just called me. And I was just like, it was the Patrick effect. I'm in the spot. I've never normally bluffed in the spot, but I'm like, I've got a bluff. But then when he called me and I was like, and I thought, yes, he thinks enough of me to think I could be bluffing in this spot.
Good to bad. It was only what, 5 figures. Not a big deal. It's all right.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
What is your? We got to go back to this one. If you could go back in time, where would you go?
Wow. See, everyone thinks the past was great, but the future's always better. I mean, if you went back to like the 1600s or something, like medieval England, but like it'd be horrible living conditions and stuff. So forget that. It has to be something recent. And the 60s seem like a pretty cool decade from everything I've seen. That'd be quite a cool time to be around.
Very nice, and they always make it look good in British film.
They do. Like
the 60s must have been cooler in the UK.
Yeah, I think everyone in the UK was kind of struggling a bit though. The economy wasn't great, but I think like California in the 60s seemed to be kind of a cool place to be. Like,
this would work.
A lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, no one really doing any work, no one having any fears. That seemed like
live on a commune.
Yeah, that seemed like that might be quite cool.
This could work.
If you did it nowadays, it's everyone looks down at you, but then it seemed like the thing to do.
Right, that's fair enough. Black Friday, end of the world or just the beginning?
Ooh. Yeah, I think the beginning. It's like things. The poker built up so fast, and then it was going into decline. The sites were dropping off, other than the big two, obviously, but numbers were going down quite a lot. And I think Black Friday is actually going to be a massive blessing in disguise, and people will realise when things come back, they're regulated, everything's everyone's just going to be a lot happier. I think the markets can consolidate. There'll be less sites. There's so many European sites. I think they need to merge. And I think this with big regulation, when it happens in the States, which everyone seems to be convinced it will happen, will be huge. My only hope is that it's not shut off to the rest of the world, like some of these sites, like the .it sites you can only play when you're in Italy.
Right.
There's like the .fr sites you can play from outside of France, but only if you're in the EU. It's that kind of thing. I really hope they don't shut it off from the rest of the world.
You ever feel like, because of your success during that time period, you were kind of a known gunslinger in the Wild West of the industry?
You never know. In like 30 years' time, they might look at it that way. These people won before the regulated days,
Yeah.
But no, I think I was very lucky in that when I was doing well in that time. I haven't played a lot online since Black Friday. I find the motivation quite hard with reduced prize pools. I'm longing for it to come back. I really want to see, like I say, these massive prize pools and huge full tournaments again. I think when it does get regulated in the States, and assuming it's at least statewide, at least the nationwide, there'll be so many new players coming in, and the prize pools will be beyond anything we've seen before.
Thanks for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you further down the road, hopefully after another big win.
Yeah, Jacksonville. I'm going to win Jacksonville.
Not too bad.
There we go.
A little panhandle action. All right. Thanks, James.
No worries.